Hey everyone, it's your host, Habo. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the weird, the wacky, and the totally unexpected world of banned stuff. That's right, we're talking about things you might not realize are actually forbidden in the United States. I'm talking about things you might use every day, things you might have even wished for as a kid, things that make you go, wait, seriously? That's illegal? We're going on a cross-country trip through the bizarre side of American law, exploring 10 things you didn't know were banned in the good old US of A. So buckle up, get ready for some head-scratching revelations, and let's unravel the mysteries of these forbidden things together. Our first stop takes us straight to the candy aisle, where a seemingly innocent treat hides a dark secret. You know those Kinder Surprise eggs? The chocolatey delights with a toy surprise inside? Yeah, those are actually banned in the United States. I know, right? It feels like something out of a dystopian novel where joy is outlawed. But there's a reason, and it's not as crazy as you might think. The FDA, the folks responsible for making sure our food is safe, has a strict policy against small toys embedded in food. Why? Well, picture this. A child, overcome with excitement for the chocolatey goodness, accidentally swallows the toy. Not a great scenario, right? To prevent choking hazards, the FDA says nope to any candy with non-edible surprises lurking inside. But hey, at least we have other candy options, right? Speaking of options, let's move on to our next banned item, which hails from a land far, far away. Our next stop takes us across the pond to Scotland, a land of bagpipes, kilts, and a dish so controversial it's banned in the United States. Get ready to wrap your taste buds around this one, folks, because we're talking about haggis. Now, for those unfamiliar with this Scottish delicacy, let me paint you a picture. Imagine a savory pudding, but instead of flour and sugar, it's made with sheep's heart, liver, and lungs, all minced up with onions, oatmeal, spices, and sweet. Sounds interesting, right? Well, the USDA, the guardians of all things edible in the US, weren't exactly thrilled about the whole sheep's lungs part. In fact, they outright banned it back in 1971. It all boils down to food safety, really. The USDA has strict regulations about what animal products can and cannot be used in food sold in the United States, and sheep's lungs just don't make the cut. So if you're ever craving a taste of Scotland while you're stateside, you might have to settle for a nice dram of whiskey instead. Sorry, haggis lovers, but some rules are just not made to be broken. Now, let's switch gears from food to something a little more luxurious. Our next banned item takes us to the sunny shores of Cuba, where we encounter a symbol of luxury and rebellion shrouded in a cloud of, well, smoke. Yes, we're talking about Cuban cigars. These hand-rolled beauties have been a coveted commodity for decades, renowned for their smooth flavor and rich aroma. But for those of us living in the United States, getting your hands on a genuine Cuban cigar is about as easy as, well, finding a unicorn riding a roller coaster. Why? It all goes back to the tumultuous history between the United States and Cuba. Back in 1960, the US government imposed a trade embargo on Cuba, banning imports from the island nation, including those famous cigars. So, while you might catch a whiff of that distinctive Cuban cigar aroma wafting through the air in other parts of the world, in the US, it remains a forbidden pleasure. But hey, enough about forbidden pleasures. Let's talk about forbidden spirits? Chapter 4. Absinthe, the Green Fairy's Forbidden Dance. Our next stop takes us to the heart of Bohemian culture, a world of artists, writers, and a drink so potent, it was once believed to induce hallucinations. That's right, we're talking about absinthe, also known as the Green Fairy. This emerald-hued liquor, with its high alcohol content and anise flavor, was all the rage in 19th century Europe. But its popularity was short-lived, as rumors of absinthe's supposed hallucinogenic properties began to swirl. Absinthe was blamed for madness and murder, leading to its ban in many countries by the early 20th century. The ban was fueled by moral panic, political pressure, and concerns about the drink's potency. But here's the thing. The whole hallucinogenic thing? Turns out, it was mostly a myth. While absinthe does contain thujone, the levels are too low to cause hallucinations. The ban on absinthe in the US was lifted in 2007, so you can now legally enjoy a glass. Just remember, moderation is key, folks. Now, let's raise a glass of something a little less controversial to our next banned item. Chapter 5. Raw milk. A raw deal. Our next stop takes us to the dairy aisle, where a seemingly innocent beverage has sparked a heated debate. That's right, we're talking about raw milk, the unpasteurized stuff straight from the cow. Now, for most of us, milk is milk. We buy it from the store, it's been pasteurized and homogenized, and we happily pour it on our cereal without a second thought. But for some, raw milk is the holy grail of dairy, touted for its health benefits and superior taste. However, there's a catch. Raw milk can also harbor harmful bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria, which can cause serious illness, especially in young children, pregnant women, and people with weakened immune systems. To protect public health, the FDA requires that all milk sold commercially in the United States be pasteurized, a process that involves heating the milk to a specific temperature for a set amount of time to kill off those nasty bacteria. While raw milk is still legal to consume in some states, selling it across state lines is a big no-no. Now let's move on from the dairy aisle to something a little more furry. Chapter 6. Man's best friend? Not always. Breed-specific legislation, or BSL, sparks strong opinions. Dogs are beloved family members, bringing joy and laughter. But not all dogs are treated equally under the law. BSL targets breeds perceived as dangerous, like pit bulls and Rottweilers. These laws can include restrictions, mandatory muzzling, or even euthanasia. Proponents argue BSL protects public safety. They believe certain breeds are inherently more dangerous. Opponents say BSL is discriminatory and ineffective. Any dog can bite if provoked or mistreated. The debate over BSL is complex and emotional. Even our furry friends can get caught in controversial laws. Now let's move from furry friends to something a little less cuddly. Chapter 7. Baby walkers. A bumpy ride to safety. Baby walkers, those wheeled contraptions designed to help babies learn to walk, seem innocent enough. But they have been linked to a surprisingly high number of injuries, mostly from falls downstairs or tipping over. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission implemented a safety standard in 2010 to make them more stable. Many retailers have stopped carrying them due to safety concerns. Chapter 8. Incandescent light bulbs, burning out for good. Our next stop takes us to the hardware store, where a familiar sight is slowly disappearing from shelves. The incandescent light bulb. That's right, those old-school bulbs that have been lighting up our homes for over a century are being phased out in favor of more energy-efficient options. Now, incandescent bulbs have served us well for many years. They're inexpensive, readily available, and emit a warm, familiar glow. But they're also incredibly inefficient, converting only about 10% of the energy they consume into light, with the rest wasted as heat. In an effort to conserve energy and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, the U.S. government began phasing out incandescent bulbs in 2007 with a series of energy efficiency standards that required light bulbs to use less energy for the same amount of light output. So, while you might still find a few incandescent bulbs lingering on store shelves, their days are numbered. Now, let's move from the hardware store to something a little more controversial. Chapter 9. Foie gras. A delicacy or cruelty? Our next stop takes us to the world of fine dining, where a controversial delicacy has sparked outrage. We're talking about foie gras, the rich buttery pate made from duck or goose liver. Foie gras is prized for its smooth texture and rich flavor, but the method of production, known as gavage, is undeniably cruel. Animal rights activists argue that gavage is inhumane and causes unnecessary suffering. Due to these concerns, foie gras production is banned or restricted in several countries. Now, let's move on from this controversial delicacy to our final banned item. Chapter 10. Fireworks, not always a cause for celebration. Our final stop takes us to a 4th of July celebration, where the night sky explodes in a dazzling display of color and light. But while fireworks are synonymous with celebration in the United States, not all types of pyrotechnics are created equal, and some are strictly forbidden. Now, fireworks are a beloved tradition, a symbol of joy and celebration. But they can also be dangerous, posing a significant risk of fire, injury, and even death if not handled properly. To mitigate these risks, the U.S. government regulates the sale and use of fireworks, with different types of fireworks falling under different classifications. Some fireworks, such as sparklers and ground-based fountains, are generally considered safe for consumer use and are readily available at retail stores. However, other types of fireworks, such as firecrackers, bottle rockets, and aerial shells, are considered too dangerous for consumer use and are strictly prohibited in many states. So, while you might enjoy a backyard fireworks display on the 4th of July, remember that not all fireworks are created equal, and some are best left to the professionals. That wraps up our journey through the weird and wacky world of banned items in the United States. Well, there you have it, folks. 10 things banned in the United States that you might not have known about. From controversial delicacies to unexpected safety hazards, we've explored a wide range of items that have been deemed off-limits by the powers that be. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more surprising facts and stories. Let us know in the comments which banned item surprised you the most.